All right, welcome to Overly Opinionated. Rest in peace to
Episode.
fallen kings
And free the guys.
and free the guys.
We got a good episode today.
That's what you think?
Yeah, I think
You feeling good about it?
Yeah,
That's
because
what's up.
it's some shit that definitely needs to be spoken on.
All right, I'm glad you feel that way, bro. But before we get to it, I just wanted to ask you how you living today, bro. Like,
I'm ready to go on vacation.
yeah,
Like it's actually going pretty fast. Like one more day, and then I'm out of here. I feel it.
yeah. You've been a little distant. I can tell you going to Jamaica. What?
I ain't been distant.
You've been distant. Nah, you've been
I just
distant.
been ready.
You ain't hitting the chat like you used to.
I ain't watched the second slate of games until
Yeah.
prime time. I'm just ready to get up out
You
of
ain't
here.
calling me talking about
Like-
fantasy football.
Yeah, I've been doing bad though.
You don't even smoke.
My
You smoking
mind-
a doobie and all that.
My mind ain't even been on the football.
Your mind been in the Caribbean.
This gonna be nice. All right, no.
I love it for you, bro. All right, so today I kind of wanted to talk about how we behave in different scenarios. One of the main things that got me on this topic was there was a conversation about identity recently, and people talking about like who you truly are versus how you behave when you're around this person or how you behave when you're around that person. Like, almost as to say who you are when you're alone is who you are.
Would you think that is true?
No. I almost think that it's more likely that you are who you are at all of those points. Like, all of them make up who you are because who you feel you need to be in those moments is indicative of who you are.
Yes.
Because
but
some people might think they don't need to be that. Some people might think
Which is
to be
beautiful.
the exact opposite.
Yeah, so for me that's tough because sometimes who you're comfortable with, which I would consider who you are, you can't be that all the time because it's not seen as acceptable.
I see where you're going.
Yeah, acceptable.
I see where
Now,
you go. I see where you're going.
That doesn't mean it's not acceptable.
Talk your
But
shit, young
it's
black
just-
man.
It's just not seen as acceptable. So, and for example, like how we talk now, like how I'm with you, I can't talk like this on a job site. I can't talk like this in front of a customer because, for one, they would see it as unprofessional or even as a threat, especially with the way I look like. Yeah. Instantly seem as like rub them wrong or something like that, which is I think is crazy because I would never get them vibes at all. What you think about that?
Well, I think it's true, but I think it's important to point out you work with white people almost exclusively.
Yes.
And me too. Like, most of the people that I work with happen to be white as well, and I agree. Like, and I have very few restrictions where I work. Like, I get to be a grown ass man at work.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not even like, hey, don't say this or don't say that in my office, but there are certain things that I refrain from saying. Like, I'm not going to say nigga at work.
Yeah.
Even though I'll say everything else.
So why not? Why is that off your list?
Because I feel like you said, it would make other people uncomfortable. Which is weird because if I'm the black one, I should be the one with the I should be nigging it up.
That's a fact. You're the minority.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, like what I hope is I ease it. When I work at a job, I ease my true self into the workplace. So, and I hope that they'll change their opinion what they think a person who looks like me is. Like, cause people fuck with me. So I hope the way they see me act is like, okay, they're not like this. Like, I have to change the stigma that comes with black people who say nigga in rap music and all that. I hope to change that stigma just with the way I act.
Interestingly, like, I agree with you. There's a certain part of me that also wants to be the anomaly, like the standout, the reason that you may think maybe whatever this group of people isn't what my preconceived notion of them tells me that they are. but I also think that that is a garbage way to behave. Like I don't like the fact
On
that
their
I
part,
feel
right?
no,
Your part?
yeah, I don't like the fact that I feel like I have to be the spokesperson for a group of people because I'm not. Like there are a bunch of black people that don't see me as black. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to be an advocate for a group of people. It doesn't seem realistic.
But I feel like no matter what, because you are black and people have these opinions of black people, where you go, you're gonna be, when you're in a minority, you're gonna be the spokesperson.
Of course.
Unwillingly.
Of course.
So it's like,
but it's not unwillingly. I do. Like I said, I agree with you that I take on that spokesperson role. I want to leave an impression that may give the next nigga a shot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to have to be that.
But it's really not your choice.
It's not.
Like,
but even if it was, I would pick it.
Really?
Naturally. Like, that is my natural reaction to that situation. Like,
if it was up to me, honestly, I would wish I didn't give a fuck.
Right?
Like, if I had the choice to pick that, I would choose not to give a fuck.
We talked about this before.
Yeah.
You feel you want to be as much of a nigga as you can be in every situation.
Yes.
What is that about?
That's being comfortable. Not saying I'm not comfortable who I am, but I have that. We talked of the off switch that you sometimes just truly have to turn it off in order to get further in life, and that's why I have that off switch. But I wish I didn't have to have an off switch because I would just be happy and comfortable all the time.
Sure. I think this is where I have a disagreement with the population about what the true you is. I think the way that I see it, we are a collection of all of those personalities. The person that you are when you're at home by yourself and there's no one around, plus the person that you are when you're trying to impress a woman, the person that you are when you're trying to impress a boss, the person that you are when you're hosting however many people. I think those are all who you are. Like, those are the faces of the person that is at home by themselves.
So, where do you think the term "you just talking white" come from? If you feel that way,
I don't understand.
Okay, you know how people say, okay, in a professional manner, black people sound like a white person on the phone when they need something.
Yeah.
Like, where does that come from? If you think that's just them true selves, when most black people portray that trait of the turning white real quick when they need to.
Well, I think it's actually really disappointing that that's the
term. Yeah,
only because like that comes from us not being educated as a people back when we just literally weren't allowed to be educated. So like speaking as if you were educated meant that you were white.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from that, but also it's like me being a person that would speak in a way that might get me further is me being resourceful. It's me knowing how to navigate this situation.
But wouldn't that also be acting?
If that's not you. If that's not how you really get out, then yeah.
So,
but also that's how you, like, if it's how you get out, that is
like, how I don't understand because I don't know if that's how I really get down.
If that's how you moved, that's how you get out. If you made a decision, you've made that decision, whether you feel bad about it later or not, whether you think, oh man, I was faking earlier, you did it. That's you. You did that. These decisions that we make, you thought, like, even subconsciously, you thought, this is what I should do right now. So you did it. That's you. You thought that.
Yes, but doing something like that can sometimes be considered out of your character. Would you agree?
It could be considered that, yeah.
Is it that?
No, not in my opinion, no. Because you wouldn't have done it.
But sometimes it's like you're in an ultimatum to financially. Financially. So some people not act like themselves in order just to get a job to better themselves, even though you have to act a certain way. That's why it's so hard for some people to stay at a job, because they're not comfortable at the job. They got to put on this front for their employee or coworkers and shit. So it's like they ended up quitting when they just had enough.
It feels like we're talking past each other because I am addressing that. Like, that's what I'm addressing. So when you come to this ultimatum, you could either be the person that you can either portray the traits that would continue the cash flow, or you could have the attitude that you are most comfortable having. Whichever one of those you choose, that is who you were in that moment. You're the person who cares more about money than saying nigga at work. Or you're the person who wants to say nigga at work and don't care whether you make money. And both of them have the opportunity. Like, once you choose it, that's who you are. You're the person who cares about that more.
Yep.
Like, just like, bro, I'll talk to anyone. I will talk to anybody. I love talking to strangers. I love making new friends. Shit like that, right?
Yeah.
You put me in a room full of 100 people, I'm silent. That's not me. That's just who I am around 100 people. That's still me. It's just it's who I am in this situation. And that's what I think people like. I don't know why who you are when there's no one around is what is decided to be who you truly are.
Because sometimes when people are by themselves, that's when they're most comfortable.
That's basically saying without any influences, this is who you are. Yeah. But how often are we without any influences? Like that's unattainable.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's not why would we measure ourselves by something that we don't interact with often? Just like that's like putting a plant in a box with no sunlight and saying whoever that plant is when the sun goes down, that's who the plant is. Like, no, this is how the plant is here, and then this is what it is when it gets the nutrients.
Also, that saying comes from like adults who don't have kids, live on their own, trying to figure out the world, and they leave that 9 to 5, go home, snack or whatever, watch their TV. Who that person is, I think that's where it comes from. That's like an old saying.
I don't think so. I think that's how people really feel. Like, I think a lot of people compare themselves and they almost set goals on who they want to be, how they want to behave at all points. Like, I want to be this person.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the influences are, regardless of what the circumstances are. And that's just not a realistic way to judge
Do you
people.
think that's weird, though, for people who do that?
No. I understand it. Like, I understand the pressures of wanting to be a genuine self. Like, you want to be a genuine human being. For sure. I completely understand wanting to, like, have some genuineness to you.
Yeah.
Especially, like, I gravitate toward people being genuine. I gravitate toward honesty, which I think is the only thing that is to be focused on in this conversation. It's like, as long as you're being honest with yourself, like, have at it.
Yeah.
Just so I think the way that I look at it would be, let's say, like, personally, I don't want to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to fight anymore. Like, I would love to never get into a fight again. Now, if I'm out in public and my dog, let's say we out together.
Yeah.
And let's say you get rowdy because that's genuinely who you are.
Yeah.
Me pretending to also want to fight now, that's not being genuine.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But if I think like, I gotta defend my dog, like, that's completely different. Like, I'm not hopping around, oh, who really want this?
Yeah,
like,
okay. But now, do you think that, okay, perfect. So that ties back into me at work. Like, I don't want to act like this. Like, I don't want to tread lightly with what I have to say at all. But I feel like, I don't want to say I have to do that, but I feel like I truly have to do that. Just to set the tone, like, I'm not what you think I am.
What do you think they think you are?
I truly don't know, but I don't really want to find out because it might upset me. Truth be told.
Wow, bro.
That shit might upset me.
I think that means your coworker's racist. Or at least you suspect them to be racist.
Oh, suspect, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Suspect or just have no idea what the real world is like.
I would love to touch on that later. But let's stay on the topic here, and let me ask you: do you think that there's a difference between feeling the need to behave a certain way and naturally behaving that way because that's who you are? Like, that change might just be natural. Would you agree?
Yes.
So, like, when shit gets hot, I automatically, like, my adrenaline starts going.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I might fucking fight today. But I'm not reveling in that. Like, I'm not excited to fight.
So, when things trigger me at work, I'm about to use this in the wrong term, though, but I feel the real me come out when I get triggered at work. Like, the hot-head me that I would try to suppress because I'm at work. Like, I don't want to seem like a crazy dude. But sometimes that just naturally comes out. And I would consider that the real me. Like, if I was to get mad at work, they would think that's out of character of me. But that's just normal. Like, I get mad all the time. Like, but they would think this is something new. Like, you must have really pissed them off. And that kind of bothers me.
I think this is the evidence that I was looking for to make my argument. You say that the hothead you is the real you. And you say you get mad all the time. But you don't.
You don't think so?
No. Like, the percentage of your life that you're hothead Darian is not most of the time.
Well,
it's not more than 50% of the time. So why is that more the real you than the you that's playing with your daughter? Because you do that almost every time I speak to you.
Okay, because I don't be mad as much as I used to. Like, and then little things used to make me mad, but I guess I got older and shit just didn't matter anymore. But the very few times I have got mad at work is like, it's not that serious. Like, but when it's at work, for some reason, it felt a little more personal. Because I guess like maybe you tired of acting some way that is not normal to me again. Again, like, it's like a relief to be off from work. Like, I can like you said, finally be myself. Like, I don't have to think before I speak. I can say whatever I want. That shit I'm comfortable. I don't know why. Like, I'm comfortable when I get off work.
Yeah, it's because you work with racists.
Like,
it's because you work with racists.
Like, that's...
I mean, we probably all do, to be honest. And I think we all, as black people, feel that a little bit. Where it's like, I don't know about these. I don't know about this.
I will always have that thought in my head when I deal with a white person.
Yeah. No, I understand that for sure.
Like, just, I have to act a certain way so their racist tendencies don't show.
Oh, man.
You ever feel like that?
Yeah. But I combat it. I don't play that shit.
But do you? Because you don't say the N-word.
That's it. That's the only one.
Like,
that's the only one. You know how many people at my job go to tractor pools, bro? I don't even know what the fuck that is, but it sounds like the whitest shit in the world. And every time someone brings something like that up to me, I was like, yeah, bro, that's way too white for me. Like,
yeah, I can top that.
I don't experience these things.
I work with people who watch NASCAR.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
That's, once you told me that, it's like, yeah, you.
But I don't like shy away from that shit. Like, I'm right in their face with that. Like, so, that's white, bro. It is.
Now, I say the same thing, like, that's some white shit, but then it come across like, they'll try to bring up, oh, your race, that's a racist. If I was to say that would be considered racist.
They're right. They're fucking right.
But I'm just saying, that's statistically, like, that's some white shit that you
It is some white shit.
Like, I realize I point that shit out a lot.
Yeah.
For real, like, no, I don't condone.
And I think it's fine. And it's weird because, like, as much as I would get offended if they were like, man, no, I don't really listen to that kind of stuff. If they said like, oh, I don't really listen to that kind of stuff, I'd be like, yeah, well, This ain't really the demographic.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of colored music.
Oh wow, yeah.
That'll set it off for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know how I would navigate a situation like. I think there may be a little bit of privilege there, like a privilege that I have of talking about race and not getting uncomfortable that they don't have, and I flex that shit. I really do, because every time there's an uncomfortable conversation on the table, I'm willing to dip my toe in that shit.
Me too, but I feel myself get mad because
people disagree with you
by simply just not understanding, and I don't understand why they don't understand.
Really?
Yes.
You don't understand that?
You can see.
No, they can't.
But how can't you?
Because they're not standing over here.
Like that's what blows. I hate that sometimes they get most of their information from a news channel. And it's like, bro, I live in the real world. Like, okay. I see this shit. Like,
sure.
It's like black and white. Like, it truly is black and white. And for you just not to be able to see certain things, it's like, that blows my mind. It blows my mind. How old you are and just ignore, like, what is happening. Shit like that really blows my mind.
I think I can understand it, though.
How, though?
Because they don't have to face it. Like, you accept the facts because you have to face the facts. You aren't protected from the facts. Other people are protected from the facts.
But you present information to them, they'll ignore it. And just because it wasn't on the news, it's not believable.
Yeah, we do that shit too. Like, I personally do that shit too. Like, if you tell me something that I don't believe, that sounds unrealistic to me, I'm like, I don't know.
But
I don't know.
That's it. Because something that's unrealistic to them is, like, really realistic to me.
Exactly.
So, it's, like, complete different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And then I work with an older generation, so it's really different ends of the spectrum for me.
Yeah.
Like,
that must be tough, man.
It is, but I can say I am changing. I can see them changing their mind. I can say that.
Yeah, you're one of the good ones.
Like, but that's actually some crazy ass shit though.
But I wonder if that's why I dislike feeling as if I have to be the spokesman, because at the end of the day, the idea is that you're one of the good ones. Like, that's the best case scenario of changing someone's mind is letting them know that there are good ones out there.
And I hate that's what it takes. It shouldn't have to take that. You should just be accepting of other cultures. That's what you should do. But some people just don't accept it. If it's different, they don't accept it.
Some people.
Yeah. A lot of people.
That's true.
Like,
especially older people, I think.
We spoken to that. You hit that certain age, like, change is just, like, illegal to them. Like, for real. And they all say the same. It didn't used to be like this back in the day. Well, my nigga, time is changing, bro. You have to accept that.
No, they don't.
Like, you do, or you're just going to be part of the problem until you die.
But from their perspective, we're the problem.
Yeah. But a forever problem, because we're always going to be here. But I do have a question for you. If you don't hide your true stuff from your work, could you bring a whole bunch of your niggas to your work?
A whole bunch of my niggas? What you mean?
If your job was hiring, and it's like, hey, Savon, you know any guys who want to work? Would you recommend some people?
Bro, if we had college degrees, I'd have already done that.
No college degree. Just like
where I work, you have to have.
Okay, say they eliminated that. You will willingly bring some of your sisters, brothers.
Absolutely, bro.
And you think that would turn out well for you?
What do you mean?
In the terms of, do the people you know have your same work ethic?
Sure.
Okay, so the people I know don't. So they would give me a bad rep with not being dependable, or...
I don't think that's how that works. At least where I work.
Really?
Like, that wouldn't look bad on me at all.
Oh, no, that would look horrible to me. Because it's like, in my line of work, like, people would depend on you. And for someone to just do a no-call, no-show, which plenty of my people do. They'll just be short in the stick. And it's like, damn, what happens to your man who was supposed to be coming out? I was like, I don't know, let me give him a call. And I call him, I got drunk last night. I can't like that shit would look. I was like, damn, you'll never get a call from me again.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it wouldn't look bad, but I don't think it would make you. I don't think it would like reflect on you. Like I don't think they would think of me any less. Personally, I also work for a larger company than you do.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think I'm interested in being open to changing my mind about the essential you conversation. But I just don't think that picking a version of yourself and considering that you, I don't think of that as realistic. I also don't think of it. I don't think of being the same person in every situation as realistic because different situations call for different behaviors.
Yeah, now that you say that, that is definitely true because I don't act the same way when I'm with my fiance than when I'm with y'all. Like, so yeah, that opened my eyes right there. Because that right there proves you just have different versions of yourself.
But they're all you.
Yeah. They're just based off your surroundings and moods and
yeah,
etc. So yeah.
Exactly.
That is a great perspective on that shit.
Because I mean, I try to take as much, like I try to be authentic in every situation. Like I try to react the way that I actually feel, regardless of where it is that I am or who it is that I'm talking to. I try to be authentic and honest. There are just certain ways that you deliver who you are, and there are certain behaviors that are necessary in certain situations that aren't in others. So, and I think I don't think that that's less you. I think that every bit of those, every single one of those, be like in one big amalgamation. That's you. That's who you are. That's who you are at your core. Is these people. I think it depends on. One of the only things that I got out of therapy was values. Like she drew it in like a target board. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then as you go
a bullseye. Yeah. And like your values are all of the things that you wish to be. Like you wish to be honest. Do you wish to be like who you want to be to your wife, your friends, your mom, like all of those things. Like what kind of husband do you want to be? What kind of employee do you want to be? And in every situation, as long as you are as close to the middle as you can be, that's you. Like these are the things that make up who you are. And as long as you act within your values, that's who you are. Like that's you.
Gotcha. That's hard. You still have that?
No. And I wouldn't show you my values anyway.
Really?
No, I would.
Oh, I was about to say
it's not what I said. What I said was pretty much it. Like I want to be honest, regardless of who it is. I want to be a supportive husband. I want to be a reliable. All of these things, and I think reliability is probably my number one. Like I want people to know that they can count on me.
Yeah.
And supportive is probably my number two. Like I want people to know. Like I was just talking to somebody recently. I think the thing that I want people to say when I die, like, as who was Savon to you? He was just supportive. That man showed love in abundance.
Yeah.
That's what, like, I think that's one of the...
You doing it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You doing it.
Appreciate that, Brody. But yeah, that's like, these are my values, and as long as I act within... And it doesn't matter whether I'm saying nigga, whether I'm, like... Yeah. Saying golly gee willikers, which I do sometimes. Like I like a good little cutesy speak in there sometimes, but regardless of what I'm saying, or regardless of how I'm saying it, as long as I'm acting according to the values that I have acknowledged of myself, that's me.
So do you think there is a situation that you for sure wasn't acting like yourself?
Oh yeah, there are, and so in that conversation of these values, there are things that you do that you can easily say, "I wish I hadn't done that."
Uh-huh.
I would act differently if I got the opportunity to. One of them being like, especially, and I hate to bring this up all the time. Matter of fact, we got something to talk about, but like in my relationship, I want to be supportive. in my relationship with my wife, I want to be supportive. In all of my relationships, I want to be supportive. But in that one specifically, because of who my wife is and how she is, like, she deserves a supportive man. And I think that she needs a supportive man. So when I am not, like, when I am quick to, like, discourage her or when I'm quick to judge her, that automatically, like, whenever I reflect, it automatically feels like I missed the bullseye there.
So I have a question. So in them moments, how is that not your true self?
I think it's my true self. I'm just making a mistake. I'm not who I want to be.
And you can change who you want to be, though, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Because these things didn't matter to me that much when I was 20.
Gotcha.
I wanted to be rich. That's really all I was thinking about. I just want to be rich. Like, my values would say whatever I do to make $1, like, that's good. And that has changed since.
So now that I think about it, you always act like your true self. Just your true self always change. Not always change, but change. So in that moment, you was acting like your true self. But 2 years now, like, your true self changed. And you're like, damn, I wish that wasn't me back in the day. So you always really act like your true self. Like,
your comfort with who you are changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone would agree that we all change, like, our true selves. And you know what? I guess not everyone would agree, because I believe my Christian loved ones would say that your soul is the same. And I just disagree with that. Like, we are different people at different stages in our lives. And who we wish we were, who we want to be, who we want to align with, I don't think that is the same throughout our lifetime. And just because you one day discover who you want to be, I don't think that means that's who you wanted to be or that's who you really were at a different time in your life. Like, no, you weren't that person.
Right.
You were the person that you proved to be. You made these decisions over and over again because that's who you were.
Yeah.
You now want to be someone better. And that's great. That's growth. In my opinion, we all change. Like, who we are changes. You know, I'm sure there are some, like, base level things that remain the same for the most part, but I think because our values change so drastically or have the potential to change so drastically, I think who we are changes, and our comfort with who we are has to change too. And I think the comfortability that we have with the values that we seem to hold so dearly, I think that comfortability is what makes us have these identity crises where we're like, I'm not that person. Like, that's not who I don't identify with that. Like, but that's you, man. And I, like, realize that. Yeah, but when you realize that's who you are, that gives you a better opportunity to make that change. Like, whatever change it is that you need to make to align better with the values that you hold valuable right now. Yeah, I think it's a necessity.
Yeah, it definitely is about accepting who you are, because it's hard to change something we don't accept. That's what it is. Like,
impossible. Like, why would you change it? That's not you. It wasn't your fault.
Exactly. So, do you think your values are based off your surroundings?
I'm sure they influence us.
In a great deal?
Probably.
So, so a bad person, like, we could just say a bad person, are normally surrounded by bad people?
Ooh. Good question. Yeah. I don't know if I would agree with that.
Right.
I don't know if I would agree with that.
That's why I asked that.
But at the same time, if you see a child being raised in a situation where people are, like, most people that they know are extremely aggressive and violent, the chances of them becoming extremely aggressive and violent, way higher, right?
Yes. Easily.
But I don't know if you would ask that person once they were old enough. I don't know that if you asked them, like, so who do you want to be, like, as a child and as a student and as an employee? I don't think they would want to say, like, aggressive. Yeah. I want to be exactly. I want to be the one who could beat everybody up. I don't know that they would. I don't know that they would say that.
Right. So, I wonder where them values come from.
I don't think that they are necessarily values. I think that they are often defense mechanisms to make sure that someone doesn't see you a certain way.
That's incredible.
Like I don't think that it's an idea. Like the value would probably be strong. Yeah. I want people to see me as strong or tough. Yeah, I don't want people to think that they can walk all over me. And so what I do is I behave this way because how else do some people just don't know another way to portray the value that they're so focused on.
Yeah, because I asked you that because I was looking at stories that like serial killers, like, oh, they had a great childhood, but they do these harsh things, become bad people, and I wonder where that comes from. Because if your true values or whatever you aim to be is this, like, you have to have learned this from what? Like, where did this come from? So do you think people can naturally become bad?
Sure.
So there's no formula of being a good person and a bad person.
Which is terrifying. But I think that, like, so there's the argument that, I'm sure you heard of it, nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
I don't know where the scientists are on this, but I'm almost certain that they're convinced that it's a mixture of it. It's a mixture of nature and nurture. And to me, it seems to be like 50%.
I was about to say, I agree with that.
It seems to be 50% because, I mean...
There's no perfect formula, but it does increase the odds wherever you're leaning towards and whatever steps you take to do it.
Of course.
And I think that's simple.
It's one of the reasons I don't want to have children.
Really?
Yeah. I don't have confidence in the nurture part. I don't have confidence that I have the tools to make a non-piece of shit.
But if you surround, like the example you gave, if you surround your kid with positive people, good people, you got pretty high chances.
These people, like all the positive people that I know are positive and. You know what I mean?
And something else.
Yeah, right? They're positive and
let's get this
positive and a thief. Yeah.
Right. So that shit
positive and watch NASCAR. So you never know.
So yeah, that's definitely a tough one.
Do you worry about and I know I've asked this before in a way, but these types of questions, like the identity and who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that you think about in raising your child?
Yes. So my biggest thing that I deal with now is I don't want my daughter to be walked over.
So she's gonna be aggressive and violent.
Like, I want her to acknowledge someone who's trying to use her. But she's so, I don't want to call her soft. She's so gentle and caring. It's like, it'll be easy. And I love that, but I also hate it so much at the same time. Because it's like, she'll cry if someone called her a name.
Which is a fine response.
Yeah, but...
You don't want that to be her response.
Right.
Why?
Because I feel like if you're that soft, people can walk over you.
That's not necessarily the case.
But...
Like, she can be affected by it and not accept that she's going to be walked all over.
But I feel like the chances would be less likely if she
was just tough and emotionless like you.
I'm not emotionless.
Mostly, though.
Right. But, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think about that a lot. Like, I don't want her to think the world is nice. I really don't want her to think that.
Right.
But
I don't think those two things are even mutually inclusive, what you're talking about. I don't think in order for you to be affected enough by someone hurting your feelings that you cry and like the world is a great place all the time, I don't think those things are mutually inclusive.
But when I say someone, just a stranger, someone you probably may never see again.
Someone being mean to her hurts her feelings at the age of 6. She's 5.
Yeah.
She's 5.
I'm trying to get out early.
And someone hurts her feelings.
Right.
And she cries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to get that out of her early, but I have to remember she's still a little girl, though. So it's like...
And the fact that she might not be who you want her to be.
I know that. Yeah, that's why it's so tough.
She might be an emotional person.
Yeah, and I want her to be herself, but I catch myself doing things to try to mold her.
You want to toughen her up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, sometimes she hurt her little finger. I'm not kissing it. Like, come on, be tough. But again, I have to remember she's a little girl. Like, so it's like some days I'm on the mission of, okay, let her be a little girl today. And the other day it's like, no, we gotta kick this bad habit of yours. Not to say it's an actual bad habit, but it's a bad habit to me. So it's tough.
Which one of those aligns more with your values?
I'm trying to change my values. Like, I don't want to be so tough all the time. Now, see, first off, I don't think I'm that tough.
You're not.
But fuck you. But people portray me as mean and just so rude, and I don't want to be that, okay? I want to be a nice guy who just stays out the way. All right? So I'm trying to change my values and accept that this little girl is helping me to change those. It's slowly working, but it's still a lot of trial and error. So I'm trying to change my values. So I'm going to say her being a little girl and crying over everything is the one I'm learning to accept as the overall who she's going to be.
But you don't know who she's going to be. She's 5.
Well, I'm basically...
This is who she is.
Yeah.
Who she is someone that is emotional.
Yeah.
Someone whose feelings get hurt easily.
And
again, that's fine. Like, these are the experience. Like, we are probably 50% made up of what we experience. Maybe more. Like, our experiences really shape who we are and how we behave in certain situations.
Totally agree.
So, you just gotta let her... She gonna cry right now, obviously. Like, that's who she is right now. And maybe someday she won't be. Or maybe she will be. But that is for her experiences to decide. That's, like, whichever way she goes with it. Like, she might be the toughest motherfucker you ever met because she cried so much when she was a kid, she has to overcome that. I remember I used to be that same way, bro. When I was a little kid, my family knew me as a crybaby because my feelings got hurt. Bro.
You that same nigga, bro.
Bro. No, but look, so people used to say, like, I grew up in a real aggressive household. I mean, like, strong black woman to the max. Like, to the max. And, like, I just didn't want to disappoint anybody. And it's all I could do. Everybody was similar. Everybody was similar but me. Like, my granny, my mom, and my sister, they were all pretty much the same person. And whenever I was just me, everyone's mad. Like, everyone's mad at how Savon is. And, bro, being, like, just alone all the time, that shit, it hurt. So niggas used to cry. Like, when I got my feelings hurt, I would cry. And then around middle school, it was like, nah, I'm done with that. So I became just, like, the worst of it. I was the meanest in the house. And I didn't cry that often because I was just, like, always angry.
It's so crazy you said that because as a kid, I didn't get whooped. I got yelled at. And I used to boo-hoo. Now, I don't think you understand. Like, I used to face in the pillow, tears all in my face. Like,
yeah.
Like, I just got my ass beat.
Right.
So now it's like, I won't even bat an eye.
It made you callous.
So,
and that's what happened to me too. Like, after middle school, I became just like almost uncaring. Like, I was just so aggressive. I wanted to strike first.
I have a question.
That's
Are you happy about that?
What?
That you was raised that way? Like, would you rather be full of emotion?
I don't know. I don't know that I would rather it have gone differently. Mm-hmm. Because I'm pretty all right with where we ended up. But I can say that if 10-year-old me could have chosen to be validated more often, he would have. Like, if 7-year-old me was allowed to feel his feelings and that be accepted, I think he would have preferred it that way.
Does that matter to you now? If not more?
What do you mean? Does what matter?
Being validated.
No, I don't think so. Not nearly as much. Definitely not nearly as much. I think it only matters to me in how people that I'm dealing with, especially if they're loved ones, how they behave towards one of their loved ones, like expressing themselves. Like, I think it's way less, oh, my feelings are hurt because you're not validating me, than it is like, my feelings are hurt because one of my loved ones won't accept that their loved ones are just trying to feel right now. Like,
gotcha.
Almost like analyzing the situation more, because to me, I think I'm all right. Like, the way that I deal with, conflict,
yeah.
I think that like, we're all right. And that's only because I was so bad at it.
Yeah.
Like I said,
practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect, and I changed so much from being a crybaby to being like a complete asshole. Like, I did not used to be an asshole at all. Like, that came from, I'm not allowed to be sensitive. So I'm going to be insensitive. I'm going to be the one who makes everyone mad because y'all are just going to downplay who I am anyways. And that didn't really go well. Like, going to the opposite side of the spectrum didn't really go well. So I had to find like a medium.
Yeah, neutral ground.
Like, around after high school. It was like, all right, be a little nicer, but also have these assholish tendencies.
So, I have a question for you. Do you think your loved one's values, when they don't line up with yours, does that change your opinion of them?
No.
Not in the slightest?
Mm-mm. No, because I don't expect my values to be other people's values. Like, and I don't think most people, like across the board, think about who they want to be. I think most people are like going through life and dealing with how they react in the moment.
So I'm curious, do you and your wife share the same type of values?
Are
they similar?
Probably not intentionally. Like, unless we're talking about who we want to be as spouses. We think about that probably to a similar degree. But like I told you last week, the type of person that she was 6 years ago is so different from who she is now that I think she's still getting used to having a voice. So I think her values haven't been as like fine-tuned as me being, like, I'm not saying that I'm the same person as 6 years ago, but I've been on this journey of becoming who I am for the last 6 years.
Do you think in order to have a good relationship, you'll have to have the same type of values?
Great question. I don't think I've thought about this enough. For like a knee-jerk reaction, yes. I think that...
Now, I'm going to pause you there. Now, okay. When you say yes, do you mean the same relationship values or the same human values? Like, what's important to me outside of a relationship? When you say yes.
I think that they have to be similar.
Both of them.
Both of them. I think relationship values, unless your values are just to be, like, as accepting of your partner regardless of what's going on, which that might be a little unhealthy. But I think unless you're going like far, I don't want to say like soft, but like appeasing. Like, I don't know if that's what you would call it. But like
a bozo. Like, come on, glasses in your face, smile, bro. That's a bozo, man. Call it for what it is.
If you want to go like full blown appeasing, then it'd probably work if your partner isn't similar to you in values. But I think other than that, you probably have to have similar values relationally and like across the board, like as a human. But I also think that people get a little too specific with that. So like a lot of the religious people that I know, you got to be of the same religion to marry them. And that's understandable. Like, your religion might even say so. But I think that religious people's values often align with the run-of-the-mill person's values. Like, they don't want to be a thief. Like, most people ain't out here stealing. Most people ain't out here killing. Most people want to be a good spouse to their spouse. like there are certain things that are seen as like one value that actually is just a description of a group of values. So like Christian values are really just like that. You could break down each value and it be something that could align with someone who doesn't believe in a God.
So for me, I would say you have to share the same relationship values for sure, or have similar for sure. But when it comes to like the human values, it could be similar.
You think, okay, but it has to be similar.
I'm trying to think why would it be a problem if it was different, but I can't think of one.
Okay, and now this is just like far end. This is one of them left field ones, but you gotta go here.
Okay.
To point out the situation.
Yeah.
Anti-abortion person is not gonna be with somebody who down for killing babies.
But yes.
Like you might think like if your values would tell you that someone that you love is a villain, that's probably difficult to get past.
I think it depends on how hard you go for it, though. Like,
we'll just assume as hard as you can go.
Okay, so yeah, but like in my case, like I'm not anti, but if you want to have one, go ahead. Like,
you're not anti?
Well, I am anti.
Okay,
but if you want to have one, go ahead. It's not my fucking.
That's
life.
Not anti-abortion, bro.
Like, if it was in my situation, there's no way I'm getting one.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not anti-abortion.
Okay. Hey. Oh, so you're pro-choice. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm pro-choice.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. So yeah. Oh yeah. Damn. Someone's. Oh yeah. I couldn't focus. Fuck no. They lost their rabbit ass mind.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they have to have similar.
Right.
So definitely similar then. But I think the relationship ones have to be very close to the same.
Damn, that feels so dangerous to me, bro.
It is, because it's like it has to be perfect in order for it to work.
Not even just perfect, but like people are reproducing, and that open-mindedness that you were talking about a couple episodes ago, something that you value a lot in raising your daughter. That's something that's way less likely if the people that she's surrounded by, especially the two people who give her the most like information on how to navigate this world, think so similarly.
Yeah.
It's always been important to me because I'm an atheist and my wife isn't. Like, I don't believe in any gods.
She's not?
She's not.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I don't believe in any gods at all. She would not say that. Like, she believes that there's probably a God. And like, it has always been so important to me, probably because I'm in such a minority with that idea. But like, I don't have any problem with someone that doesn't think that. Like, it is not a necessity for me to fraternize with you that you also feel that same way.
Like, yeah. So, the only thing I hope is, like, there's people who's willing to change for better. Like, you don't have to accept this idea. Just be willing to accept that idea exists.
Ooh, no, that's yeah, bro.
That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And that's all I hope.
Yeah.
I don't want you to accept the idea. Just acknowledge it exists and it not be a problem for you.
And there are some good ones.
So, yeah. So.
Wow.
That's all I...
That makes a lot of sense.
Like, you don't have to look at the other end. Just respect that there's an other side. And that's it.
I would like to add that as well as that other side exists, there are also people over there that are not what you think of as what that side is.
Yep. Sometimes people don't always fit the stigma.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Like, just because stereotypes are only true for some. Like, people think it's for all. No, it's just some.
Yeah.
Like, people don't realize that shit.
I'll tell you right now, man. One of my good friends from work, and like we already agreed that we come from different worlds than most of the people that we work with.
Oh, he must be black.
No, he's not.
He's not Caucasian.
He is.
Oh wow, that's hard.
Not only is he Caucasian, bro, he comes from the opposite side of the spectrum. Like,
he got money.
We come from the mud, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we come from the mud, and dog, like, his pop paid tuition for him to go to high school.
Oh wow. Oh, yeah.
Balling. and we're just so different in our opinions on things. And I was 19 when I met him, and we differed so much on all of it. Like, we had a bunch of arguments, and he taught me a lot about disagreeing with somebody and still, like, loving them after. That was something that I didn't have that tool. Like, when I argue with you, my ears getting hot, and it's fuck you for the rest of the day, because that's how arguments went. Mm-hmm. Like, in school, in the neighborhood, at home. Like, when we argue, fuck you for the rest of the day. You don't agree with me here, get the fuck out my face. And he taught me a lot about arguing with people and still fucking with them. Because at the time, like I said, I'm poor. I'm catching the bus home.
Yeah.
Like, I'm leaving here. I'm going to go catch the bus to get home. We would argue, bro. And I'm talking about, like, he's going to say, yeah, well, you're not in the streets anymore. Like, like shit like that. Like, he really trying to cut deep. And I'm talking about, like, daddy's money and shit like that. Like, we really having arguments. And then we would get ready to leave. And he'd be like, yo, you need a ride home?
That's so fire.
That's fire.
Yeah.
Like, it means the word. Like, his relationship still to this day. Like, he legit always has a place in my heart because of his ability to just be like the same person he was before we had the argument. After. Eddie, bro, if you listening, you really my dog.
Yeah, shout out to you. That's fire.
And he, like, single-handedly, he taught me that. Like, arguments that did not mean I don't fuck with you.
Yeah.
Because he would even come over, like, he would say, like, when the example that I brought up, how he said, yeah, well, you're not in the streets no more. I'm hot still. Like, I don't know. I don't have the tool yet to not be hot when we argue. So I'm hot still. He comes over. He was like, hey, man, I probably overstepped there. I stepped over a line. I didn't mean to offend you if I did. Also, like, I'm getting ready to get out of here. You want to ride home? Like, that is so dope to me.
Yeah.
And that type of thing, like, we differ so much in everything. Like, the man's, now, I don't claim Democrat or anything like that, but being a poor guy, it's hard to be a Republican.
Yeah.
And I was poor at the time. Yeah. So, like, this dude, hardcore Republican, like, straight up rich dude who's got, like, a safety net. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And me, I'm just hoping that this next check hit.
That's it.
Because my insurance is $400 and I'm only getting $600. So, like, it's tough out here. And fam was, like, disagreeing to the grit. And then afterwards, like, yo, let's go to lunch.
Right. That's so hard because it's like he didn't let his pride ruin the friendship.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's all I had been taught at the time.
Yeah. Like, you disagreement is literally fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you have to kiss ass if you fucking around with me.
Yeah.
Which is a nasty thing. Like,
and if you back down, like, you a bitch in this situation.
That's a fact.
Like, I can't be a bitch. I can't be a bitch here.
You had to stay
like, especially not here. Especially not here, bro. Like, I have to assert my dominance.
That's a fact.
And he made me a lot more comfortable letting an argument die.
That's hard.
And shout out to Eddie, man, because that's like,
really hard.
He really taught me a lot.
Because a lot of people can't do that now.
I know.
Like, it legit leads to a friendship. Oh, you acting different, or like, that shit really tough.
Yeah,
that's some tough ass shit.
And I have told him before how much I appreciate that shit, because being so young at the time, I think that there was such a small chance without his influence that I would have gotten that same piece of information, because there weren't many people that I didn't love that I was having arguments with that, like, meant enough to me that I would get pissed.
Yeah.
But, like, we had regular arguments of, like, like, if that was somebody that I love, it's fuck you for the day at least. Like, I'm not speaking to you. Like, legit not speaking to you until the next time we literally have to speak to each other.
Now, and it's also so tough because that could have put you in a situation where you have to set your pride to the side and, like, accept this ride.
Yeah.
Or look salty as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, so that's really fire, like.
And it almost forced me to put my guard down enough to say, like, if he's willing to offer me a ride right now, or if he's willing to go walk down here to get some lunch after we just argued and I got aggressive with him, like, he's not worried about being a bitch here.
Yeah.
Like, he's not at all worried about being a bitch here. And out of the two of us, he would be the one to be worried about being a bitch here.
And those, you say Eddie, right?
Yeah.
Eddie is the type of people I hope is around from the people on the other side. Like, he acknowledged that the other side exists, and he didn't disrespect you in the aspect of how you feel or anything like that. He put it aside, like, we're still the same type of, we're still human.
Yeah.
Like, that shit goes out the window when we die. And I respect people like that all the time, man.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah,
that shit really goes a long way.
It was essential, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was essential to my growth and like being comfortable with who I am. Like in intense situations. I wasn't comfortable backing down because I thought that meant that I was less alpha than I wanted to be seen.
That and backing down also means you lose.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And I'm not comfortable being like I'm not comfortable being the B-side here, even though like that's just who you are.
And it's crazy because that showed how much of a man he was.
Yeah.
To be like that.
Yeah.
Like, and it was just young head you.
Yeah.
And then a man. Like,
yeah.
And it's crazy because younger people would be like, damn. Like, that's a bitch right there. That's what I thought. Like,
there was some of that in there.
So,
there was some of that in there, bro. Like, we would talk. Some of the arguments that we had, we were arguing because I just disagreed with how manly he was. Like, you're not manly enough.
Right.
And it's where I learned that manliness is not monolithic. Like, there isn't one thing that makes you a man. Like, that dude's a man. He's just different than me.
That shit was fire, though.
Yeah, bro.
I respect that.
So, yeah, I think we'll leave this episode, we'll close this episode on challenging each other and our listeners to coming up with the values that you want to be identified by and keeping track of them throughout, let's say, the next 2 months, and how it is that you correlate, your actions correlate to your values.
Let's not do 2 months. Christmas coming up. Let's set it for New Year's.
That's a long time. That's a long time, brody.
It's a challenge. Keep it a challenge.
All right, yeah.
Right.
I think regular check-ins, though, are essential. Yep. So let's do like an every 30-day check-in of like, how are you aligning with your goals? How have you been doing, or aligning with your values, and try to keep track of what it is that you do that don't align with your values, and see who you really are.
Yeah, and I want to leave with the message: accept yourself first, and if you don't like it, proceed with the change.
That's beautiful.
So,
all right, there's episode 4 in the books. We appreciate y'all for listening. Tap in with us.
Thank you.
OOP Boys
on Twitter.
The Overly Opinionated Pod at gmail.com, and the Overly Opinionated Podcast on Instagram. Please hit us up. Let us know how you feeling about the pod. Let us know how y'all think identity relates to how we behave in different situations, and just tap in with us. Keep enjoying. We'll see y'all next Wednesday.